He met two old men. I am the new magistrate in this county, and I observed a peculiar sight here. Hi everyone, how are y'all doing? I hope everything is well. I wish to share an interesting and fun story that will surely lighten your mood. Please don't forget to click the subscribe button and as well as the like and share buttons beside it. And if you have anything to share, don't hesitate to type them in the comment section below. So, now, it is the story of西门豹. What? Who is this西门豹, and why are we discussing about him today? Well, he is one of the famous generals from the kingdom of Wei in the Warring States period. Wait a minute. Are we going to time travel again? Time travel? Yes, but I believe it is necessary first to get to know this famous person. This short introduction will help us recognize who he really was, what his great accomplishment was, and the popular tale that sings of his deeds.西门豹, a prominent engineer and official, was given merit for eliminating false news that had roused the town and opened canals for the smooth flowing of the flood as a step to irrigation systems, and later strengthened the country. Hey, what are we waiting for? Let's get rolling. By the way, the title of this story is 西门豹治邺. Long time ago, in the kingdom of Wei, there was a lord named Duke Wen, or Wei Wenhou. One day, calling a man named 西门豹, the person I mentioned a while ago, he bestowed upon him the position as a magistrate, or the lord of a district called Ye. In Chinese, it was called Ye Xian. The official received the order and proceeded to make preparations to set off for Ye. When西门豹arrived at his destination, the condition of the place startled him greatly. The folks of that town looked at him and bowed their heads in despair and disappointment. Vendors selling goods and products stared at him with confusing expressions. But aside from these shocking points, there was one particular point that was clear and noticeable in西门Bao's eyes. The number of men were more than women! What? Oh, you must be joking. How could this be possible? Yes, indeed. What's worse, the men were unmarried, and the women living in the area were only old ladies and young little girls. What happened to the census of population of this place? This concern triggered西门Bao. To acquire more information about this critical situation, he met two old men and invited them for a talk. Good day,西门Bao began. I am the new magistrate in this county, and I observed a peculiar sight here. And I strongly believe that to solve my inquiry, I have to ask the two sirs for your assistance. So, may I know the reason or cause? Why is the number of men more than women? Every single thing of this traces back to the river god's marriage, said an old man.西门Bao was amused by this strange name. Oh, so who is this river god? That same old man answered, you must be new here. The river god is the head of the Zhang River that resides near our place. That river endlessly floods our villages. So in order to ask the river god to stop the flooding, we have to present a lovely young lady to him as a wife. Who told you this? Asked西门Bao. A witch who lives here told us. Every year we give our local officials a large amount of money as a contribution to the wedding ceremony. But in reality, only a small portion was put to use. The majority fell into their hands.西门Bao thought for a moment, then asked again, where do the brides come from? The companion of the old man said, the witch and her servants knock from door to door, toc 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 toc, requesting for a maiden to be given to the river god. The wealthy households can afford to spare their daughters, but the poor, the unfortunate ones, can do nothing. Also, on the day of the marriage, a mat made out of woven reeds is laid on the shore, awaiting for the bride to ride on. When the bride is ready and on the mat, the soldiers set it out on the surface of the river and allowed it to drift. At first, the mat floats, but soon it sinks with the girl, he added sadly. And because of this, the first old man continued, families who still have their daughters fled this district thus leading to the decrease of the population. So this explains why the young men here are left with few women to marry.西门豹 shifted his eyebrows. When the river god receives his bride, does the river stop flooding? The old man shook his head. No, the river still floods the same as before. The witch informed us that if we stop doing what the river god desires, then the flood will become worse. At this moment, Simon Bao sank into deep thought. Then he gave a slight grin. Well, he began, I see, the river god is very strong indeed. It's an honor for me too, to attend his wedding. Do you know when this will take place? The two old men answered, next week, in unison. Before we continue, what do you think is the interpretation of Simon Bao's grin in the previous part? I'll give you 5 seconds to think. Time is ticking! Yes! He finally understood the gist of the tale and had an idea in store. So, in connection to this, for you, what was Simon Bao's plan? Let's proceed. The following week, Simon Bao appeared in the wedding of the chosen young maiden and the river god. Surrounding him were his soldiers, the townsfolk, the weeping parents of the lady, and yes, we must not forget the witch and her attendants and the local officials. They were the ones initiating the special event and the previous events as well. Because of the high position as a county magistrate, the witch and her team courteously bowed to Simon Bao as he entered the platform and took his seat. Hiya, my dear sir, said the witch. What has brought you here? Simon Bao answered respectfully, today is the big day, the day we await the most. The river god is about to marry the girl, and this should be a pleasant one. Firstly, to please the river god, his highness himself, and secondly, to plead for the Jiang River. The witch and the local officials nodded in agreement. Simon Bao entranced himself for a quick round of light snacks, then exclaimed, oh, by the way, may I ask, is the lady pretty? Perhaps we shall conduct a rapid inspection first before we present her to the river god. Nodding, the witch readily agreed, and called a soldier to bring the bride. Bring her here! The young lady with white and silky skin and beautiful long hair stepped onto the platform. Simon Bao glanced all over her for a moment, then commented, apologies for my rude comment, he said, pretending to be dissatisfied. But the girl isn't pretty enough for me. If we offer her to the river god, then I'm afraid he will blame the citizens and even us. How about this? To avoid misunderstandings, may I request, ma'am, to personally meet the god and tell him that we haven't found the right girl, and please ask him to wait until next week. And that day, we will present him a better one. Okay, now what do you think would be the reaction of the witch? If you guessed a surprised and troubled look, bullseye! The witch suddenly frowned a bit, and the local officials turned their heads slowly. At once, Simon Bao could see that his plan was working. He looked at them maliciously, then commanded his soldiers, send the witch to the river god. The soldiers heard him, carried a hag, and tossed her into the river. They waited for minutes. Then Simon Bao exclaimed, what has taken the witch so long to come back? Maybe sending her attendants to fetch her can speed up the time. His soldiers heard him and tossed her 3 wailing attendants one by one. Witnessing the scene, the local officials fell to their knees, almost fainting. Poor guys. And begged the magistrate to cut it out. Please, sir, please, sir. Glancing at them, Simon Bao didn't say anything but grinned lightly. After an hour, both the witch and her attendants haven't returned yet. Strangely, Simon Bao said to an official, Sir, If you are pleased, may I request you to call the witch and her servants to come back here quickly, and also ask the river god for his pardon that we cannot provide the girl today." The official page had no time to answer, but stammered helplessly, and for the soldiers picked him up and tossed him into the river. The rest of the officials saw this and repeatedly bowed down to西门豹, begging him for his mercy.西门豹could see that they had had enough punishment and a lesson to learn. So he said, "Alright, all of you get up. I bet that the river god wants to keep them. It's not early anymore, so you may all go home." The bride was reunited with her parents, and the folks applauded西门豹as he exited the platform. From that day on, since the interrupting case of the river god had ended, no one dared to mention it again. In order to innovate the place,西门豹encouraged the citizens to dig 12 canals to bring water from the Zhang River to irrigate the crops, paving the way for bountiful produce and satisfied and happy people. Soon, the families with the daughters returned, and Ye was blasted with happiness and prosperity. Phew! Finally, we finished the story. Thanks to西门豹, he really was the great hero. He used his wit to outsmart the witch and her team and stop them from deceiving the poor citizens. After this incident,西门豹was later promoted to a higher rank by his lord and was provided countless opportunities to use his skills actively, and he did so. So guys, that's it for today. Remember to always weigh a particular situation carefully first, then recognize its effects and make the right decision. Okay, so I will see you all next time. Bye for now and have a happy new year.